I was about to press leave meeting by mistake when it comes up to confirm that I'm okay with it. Like, no, actually, don't feel like being recorded.
Hello and welcome back to the Alizee Yeezy show. I'm your host, Alizee Yeezy, and today I'm joined by VangelinaSkov. How you doing, mate?
Hello, I'm back again. You can't get rid of me.
What have you been up to? What's going on? What's good?
What's going on is I actually have no idea. I I don't know when the last one we recorded was. It was recent, but I can't remember anything in between that and now.
Well, that's always a good sign if you just have like a month-long amnesia.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. All I can remember is drama, and that's all I need really to do my job and this. So
Well, your recent video did well about that Illuminati person who I still have no idea what's going on there. I don't know who that person is.
So what you're saying is you haven't watched my videos?
No, I don't watch anyone's videos anymore.
Fair, neither do I, to be honest. I sometimes watch yours. Occasionally, I try. They're very long.
Considering you edit them, I would hope so.
Yeah, well, I watch them when I edit them, but the ones I don't edit, I'm like, that's long.
I don't watch them back. Do you think I sit there and watch an entire 4-hour long? That's what I'm about to do tonight. I just finished my script for the 50 Shades Darker, so the sequel to 50 Shades of Grey. And the script, I think it's 160 pages or something. So it's by far my longest yet. It's hideous.
That's
it's
a
disgusting.
Novella.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. And it's going to it's going to be like a 7-hour long video. For real.
Shit. How are you going to record a 7-hour long video? That's like a whole day's work.
Yes, but I bought do you know you can get SD cards? This is not interesting to anyone who doesn't do media, but you can get SD cards that are 500 gig SD cards. Did you know that?
Yeah, mine are 500 gigs. Well, I have one 501 to 56 to so one of those. It's a very specific number.
I didn't know that. That's more power than what we went to the moon with, if we went to the moon.
I fully believe we went to the moon. I think it would have been harder to stage it. I just think the moon is hollow. We've been through this with you.
I think we went to the moon, but then I listened to I think it was one of Sean Atwood's podcasts, and he had this moon denier, not the moon's existence, but a moon landing denier, I should say, on. And I listened to it for about an hour, and I'll be damned if by the end of it I wasn't a little bit maybe we didn't go, but then that reverted, because who cares whether we went or didn't go? It doesn't pay any of my bills. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really care that much.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like the biggest deal, to be honest. I mean, the moon is still there, allegedly. Some people don't think it's there, but, pretty sure it's there. So that's all we really need to know.
Yeah, it doesn't really affect my life. So I've become one of those people that I used to kind of look down upon. What a nasty thing to say. But I've become one of those apathetic people, because I remember being 21 and working in this bar and being going to protests and protesting stuff, don't know what, anything really, and talking to older people, older men in their 40s about it at the pub. And they'd be yeah, we don't bother with that stuff anymore because nothing changes. And I'd be well, if you don't bother, then nothing's going to change. And now I am in that camp of nothing ever changes. Just my gas bill gets higher and higher, and then I die. Well, not yet, but one day, my gas bill is going to be £1 million, and I'll be 90.
Yeah. Well, I also don't plan on dying. I think I've told you this. It's just not something I'm going to do. But beyond that, I do agree with you that nothing changes, but I kind of try to I don't know, at least speak about things, not be fully 100% complacent, but at the same time, I'm pretty nihilistic about it all at this point.
You've got to watch out with wanting to try to not to die and live forever, because that's a Greek tragedy about to happen. So imagine you get given a wish and you're oh, I'd like to live forever. But then you don't specify that you want to stay young. So you're 1 million years old and you turn into a little wisp of dust because you're that old and frail. I'm pretty sure that is a Greek tragedy.
I'm going to be like Cassandra from Doctor Who. Is that her name? Cassandra?
Who is that?
Doctor?
No.
Okay, there's an episode of Doctor Who, and there's this like really, really old woman. I think she's like the last human or something. It's like way in the future, and she's literally just like stretched out skin on a
Oh,
thing. The whole thing is like she's shouting the whole time, "Moisturize me." So
I'm
I'm gonna
I'm,
be
I'm
that.
looking this up right now. I want to see the no, I know what that is. I've seen that before. I always thought that was like a Mighty Boosh character.
No, it's Doctor Who. Everything's
That
Doctor Who in the end.
that looks like something that Noel Fielding would do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does feel maybe he wrote the character.
That's disgusting.
And that would be
Anyway,
me. No, I'm planning to like put my consciousness in the computer. So that's the plan.
what if you get hacked?
Oh well, then what you
And
gonna
who
do?
owns the computer? Is it a computer you've made, or are you trusting Elon Musk? Because I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'm making computers. I'm like fucking genius level now. Did I not tell you that? Forgot to mention. I just choose to do YouTube and not do the smart things, just for fun.
Because you can't trust the people who are going to build the quantum computers to upload the consciousness into. It's not going to be accessible for us unless we become billionaires in the next 10 years. And even then, do you want to be knocking around with like Elon Musk? Do you know what I
It's
mean?
better than dying. I'm just not doing it. I
Mm,
refuse.
eh.
Like sheer like stubbornness is what's going to keep me alive. I'm not dying. That's
See,
it.
if I was going to become immortal, I would want to go down the vampire route because I'm convinced there's got to be like some vampires around. Why do we have so many myths about, you know? So that's the route I'm going to go down. I would rather be a vampire than be stuck in a computer with Elon Musk and all the other insufferable billionaires. Like you're going to have to be hanging out with who's a billionaire who I don't like. All of them. Jeff Bezos, J.K. Rowling, she's not a billionaire anymore, but you know that she'll put herself in there. Like it'll just be like the most. Have you seen that? What's that film? Don't look up.
Yeah, it's good. I like that one.
Spoiler alert! But you know, at the end, when all the billionaires they find a planet finally, like 20,000 years into the future, and all the billionaires, it's just all old, like haggard people because they've got no intention of like repopulating the human race on a different planet. They just wanted to live forever because they don't care about carrying on because they're all like in their 60s, whatever. That's what it'll be like inside a quantum computer.
And I'm going to be one of those old people. And it's going to be great. Look, if vampirism is a choice, that is my first choice, obviously. But you got to have like backup plans.
Sure. Vampirism is a lifestyle choice. We shouldn't judge
I mean,
people.
exactly. I'd be like, no, I don't think this is a complete tangent. I'm so sorry, but I have to get this thought out of my head. I don't think I'd be like a vegetarian vampire because they kill animals, and that's sad. So I think I'd just go for the people.
I agree. I agree. I would definitely be a carnivore vampire and eat humans.
You could eat the billionaires. You could literally eat the rich.
Duh.
We've
Like
solved it.
I don't know why Edward Cullen gave it up because like he was using his mind reading powers to kill murderers and sex offenders, and then he just gave that up to live a better life, not protecting
No,
people.
fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Let him die. Kill him. Don't kill anybody ever.
I'm currently my life is a mess. It's chaotic. I'm living in hotels and relatives' places. It's all just a pile of shit.
I mean, it looks like a nice hotel. You've got a picture of a horse. That's really all you need.
This one it's actually not too bad. It's not that expensive and you get breakfast included. And because like I haven't been able to upload for an entire month because I'm in between moves and I went to stay with my mum for a bit. My mum has the worst internet, one of the worst internets actually, because I tried to, I can't. People who follow the podcast, they're going to want to know why I haven't been uploading like properly. So here's like the basic gestalt, right? I can't edit on this laptop. This laptop, it's a 2018 MacBook Pro, so you think it'd be pretty good. It's such a pile of shit. When I'm transferring files, I can't use the laptop at the same time because it will just shut down. It can't edit without lagging. For every like 10 seconds of editing I do, it will lag about 20 seconds. And with my ADHD, I always come this close to just chucking the laptop out the window. Can't do it. Not going to do it. I can't edit on this. And I was trying to send you a measly 50 gigabyte file at my mum's using her internet. And it said it would take 40 hours. Now, on average, my videos, I think, because they're so long, they're usually around like 200 gig, like in raw footage. So if I have to wait an entire week to send someone 200 gig on a laptop that's so temperamental that I can't use it for anything else whilst it's sending files, how am I going to get anything done? And then I was at my boyfriend's sister's and her internet was even worse. The same like 50 gig file said it wanted to take 100 hours instead of 40. So I was like at my wit's end. So I'm just like in between so many places at the moment. And I've finally just given up and I've booked myself into a hotel and the internet is actually fast enough.
And you've solved it. Now you can just stay there forever. If the internet's good, that's where you stay.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a swimming pool, so that's always good. But it's just, it's not ideal in this economy with these prices. But otherwise, like the alternative is I literally don't fucking work until the end of November. And I don't know about you, but I can't do that. I don't get paid unless I work. There's no job security in doing YouTube. So taking a bit of a financial hit at the moment, but hopefully with Christmas coming up, I'll make the money back and more, so.
Hopefully. Although I think I've said this to you before, like for me, December is always a terrible month for me for whatever reason. I don't know what
Someone else said that. Someone else has said that to me, but December's always pretty nice for me.
Well, then just make it all back. You should just do a video every single day somehow, 17 hours long. Or no, it wasn't 17, it was 7. I just added time onto it for you.
I just live stream all day. Well, I am planning to do like I'm always quite hesitant to unveil my plans publicly because we all know me. You can't trust me. I am not a dependable person. But I do want to do something akin to Vlogmas with the podcast and also with like the third channel, kind of to make up for the fact that I haven't been able to upload for a month straight, and also everyone does Vlogmas to try to take advantage of the higher CPM and stuff. So I'm going to try to, it's just all, do you know what? Like, and I miss working. I miss filming because I like it. It feels like I've been on vacation, but not in a nice way because again, not on a salary. If I don't do some work, I'm going to run out of money pretty fucking soon, So, yeah.
Well, look, at least you can like actually get stuff done now and you can send files and so that's all okay. And you have your microphone, that's all you need. And as I said already, and your eyebrows look really good. So everything's coming together.
I appreciate that. I'll unveil my new eyebrows. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about a bit of drama, aren't we?
Yes, because there's always something fucking new every day.
Yeah, there really is. So today we're going to cover the MrBeast and Rosanna, what's her name?
Pansino. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm
Rosanna
pretty sure
Pansino.
that's right.
We're going to talk about that because I saw Rosanna go on to H3's podcast to discuss what had happened, and I had some thoughts and feelings, but it feels a bit risky, this one, because it feels like, I don't know, it kind of feels like the comment section on H3's podcast anyway aren't going to agree with me and my thoughts upon this. How about you?
I mean, it's really polarized. I think me and you are probably kind of in agreement. I can see both the arguments and blah, 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 but it is very polarizing online. I wouldn't trust H3's comment section. I don't know if they scrub things or not. I feel like they might have somebody to do that. But that is just pure speculation. So
H3's kind of funny to me because he certainly has how do I phrase this? An audience now that 6 or 7 years ago is the opposite of the audience he had back then, and people can change and stuff. I don't think I was about to say, I don't think no, I enjoyed a lot of H3's content. There were some things that he said though that you definitely shouldn't say. If you know what I'm on about, he sat in a room with iDubbbz and he filmed a podcast with iDubbbz, and he said words that even iDubbbz sat there and went, was making faces like, can you not?
Yeah.
iDubbbz. I used to enjoy a lot of H3's content back in the day. But it's just funny because like his audience now is very different to how it was back then. And I don't personally believe that he's changed all too much. Not that he should have changed like loads in the first place anyway. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think that sometimes his real personality comes out, because once every few months he gets in trouble and gets huge backlash from his audience because he slips up and says something a little bit offensive or a little bit controversial, and his current audience don't like it. And it's like, well, you guys clearly weren't around 6 or 7 years ago, because this is Ethan. That's who he is, you know. It's almost like, I think I saw someone say once, it's almost like when he and Trisha did Frenemies, he got a whole new influx of like Trisha's audience, who are a bit more like the people who watch beauty content and that type of thing are a little bit more quick to cancel people, shall we say, right? So now Ethan kind of has like that as like his basis for his audience, but it's at odds with his true personality, because he is a bit of an edgelord.
Yeah.
Not
but
that,
it's
like,
not,
you know,
like,
not that, like, there's nothing wrong with that sometimes, as long as you're not using slurs. You know, that's kind of like that's like the bar is on the floor, and yet so many people can't even reach that bar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just like the bare fucking minimum. And that's all.
Don't say racist things, bare minimum. And yet, yeah, so I wondered that about H3's audience as well. I think, like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see. It's just, I think the fact that how do I say this? Oh, whatever. It's not trendy to be like that kind of edgy, whatever he used to be anymore. So he's just being what's trendy. Like, it's trendy to be more PC and all of that, which is not to say, you know, there's anything wrong with that, but it is like, it's not actually who he is. So he's built up this weird fake version of himself that he can't live up to, because eventually, like, who you are is going to come out. So he's fucked himself over.
And it's always hard to, like, unless you meet people in real life and get to know them properly, like you and I know each other pretty well, it's always hard. It's hard to gauge who actually genuinely does change and who doesn't, because I feel like, I'm going to speak from my experience, but I feel like a lot of us, like me in my early 20s, I was definitely anti-PC culture, because there was a time where it was a bit ludicrous. And the H3 video, Humongous, is a very good example of that. Have you ever seen that? Because H3, he used to do reactionary content to like really kind of far left SJW style stuff, right? And there was this one guy, this woman's like recording him and following him. I'm not sure why, I can't remember the context, but she's like, what's your name? And he goes, I'm Humongous. And she's like, what? And he goes, Humongous, you know, because like he's a bigger guy, right? And she turns around and goes, is that sexual assault? Is that sexual harassment? And she starts screaming at him, being like, this guy just assaulted me, essentially, because he told a dad joke. Like, dude was in his mid-40s, he told a dad joke, you know? So like H3 and people like that would make reactionary content about those type of topics, and I was definitely more on the anti-PC side, because like there was no room for nuance with certain types of people, you know, like that's clearly a bloke doing a dad joke, and that it's not fair to film him and act as though he's a sex offender for say Humongous, you know what I mean? But that was in my early 20s, and as I've grown, I've developed a little thing called empathy, and I've naturally gone the path of like being a bit more considerate and trying to like see things from other people's perspectives and point of views and stuff. And it is interesting to note that like when H3 was doing his content, because a lot of people did change. I mean, if you look at iDubbbz, I don't believe iDubbbz has gone the route of being more PC because it's popular, because his audience, his core demographic, fucking hate it. And they bully him to no end. He has not, his career is not going exactly well due to like the development and the growth that he's gone through. It's really quite interesting, right? But H3H3 was like in his 30s when he started doing YouTube. So, you know, at least some of us, when we were a bit more on the anti-PC or anti like SJW bandwagon, at least we were in our early 20s. But I feel like maybe that's a bit unfair to say. I don't know. And this has nothing to do with the MrBeast thing, but
well, just to briefly explain for people who don't actually know what's going on. She came
idea.
out with a Twitter statement. Yeah. She was saying that she had taken part in Creator Games 3, which is a big thing, a YouTube original that MrBeast did, where they have to like compete against other YouTubers. And the final game was hide and seek. And she had come out in the top 3. She'd come out 3rd, but MrBeast edited it so that she was 5th. And it was supposed to be her, Zach, something whose name I just can't remember for whatever reason, and Quackity. Quackity was supposed to be 2nd. But he edited it so it was that Zach dude, Larray, and Logan Paul were in the top 3. So Rosanna put out the statement and is trying to kind of frame it in a way that makes MrBeast look sexist, like saying that he edited out the only female from the top 3, even though he also like edited out Quackity, who is a man.
So from my viewpoint, this is hearsay. My mate who was following all the drama on Twitter told me that like she kind of built up to releasing the statement, and the build up to the statement sounded as though it was a lot more, shall we say, severe than someone just editing a hide and seek video. Like some of the language that was being used, some of the rhetoric, it sounded as though it was like a much more serious situation. I think even Ordinary Gamers, I don't know if that's her name, like someone tweeted when I found out this was about hide and seek, like, you know, it's a bit because I'm looking, it's the extreme $1 million hide and seek one, in it. Logan Paul's in the thumbnail for this because I have my own theory as to what's happened.
Yeah, she said, like, I think the quote was, it felt like a boys' club. And it felt like they didn't want a woman there or something like that, or they didn't want a female creator there, which it's a lot of assumption on her part. Like, she did also say that she's had other female creators tell her that they've had like more serious issues with MrBeast, but she didn't say what they are. So, like, if that's true, then that's a whole different situation.
She said in the H3 thing that, you know, she's built up this community and she could have done a lot of good with the $1 million. And I kind of felt like, but it was for the winner to give away to their community or their charity or whatever. So that to me was it was just kind of like a moot point. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was going to go to charities or communities regardless. So who's to say that your idea of charity or community is better than, I don't know, Larray or Logan Paul, whoever won it. The whole thing about it being a bit of a boys' club.
The world is a boys' club.
The world is a boys' club. I don't know. I guess I can't really. Well, look, I'm not in the American YouTuber scene. I've met a lot of English YouTubers, and I'll get on fine with them. Boys, girls, regardless, but it's not the same situation, I know. But one of the examples she used of that was that when they'd found like most of the people, MrBeast asked, oh, who wants to go with me to find the people who are still hiding? I think it was just Larray at that point, or Quaxi or whatever. And she said, oh, I'll go with you. And then Logan Paul said, I'll go with you. And he said, oh, actually, I'll just take Logan Paul. I don't know what. I'll pick up my train of thought in a second. I've just seen something that's annoyed me a little bit.
What?
The chicken shop date girl has gone on to Hot Ones.
Oh, your arch nemesis.
Doesn't know I exist, and yet she is. No, she's not my arch nemesis. Like, as I don't think about her that much, to be honest. It's just, you know, whenever she pops up, which isn't often because I've put don't recommend channel, you know. not having it when she does pop up. Because I feel like I'm just the only person who feels like the vibes are bad and the vibes are very off of her.
I don't think I've
feel like
ever watched her. That's
well, she's been on a few things like Come Dine With Me and just like other things outside of the character she's obviously playing in the Chicken Shop Date. And I just thought, I don't know. I feel like I'm the only person, but I think the vibes are off of everyone. Anyway, Mr. Beast. What do we know about Mr. Beast? Well, here's what I know about Mr. Beast. I listened to his Joe Rogan episode when he went on, and Mr. Beast is very good at talking about social media and the business behind YouTube. Anytime that Joe tried to reference anything outside of that sphere, shall we say, that media sphere, Jimmy had no frame of reference for anything. Like he couldn't hold or maintain a conversation unless it was about YouTube. And I kind of feel like came away from listening to it feeling like he's hyper fixated on YouTube to such an extent that he is the world's biggest YouTuber. And you know what? Yeah, he does deserve it. It is a very good skill set what he's done. He's got like 200 million followers. You know, he like has channels where they upload the same videos but with Spanish dubs.
Yeah.
And yeah. Just like, and that's quite innovative. Like that's a good idea. Spanish is one of the
isn't it the most spoken language or the second most spoken language in the world?
It's up there. It's definitely in like the top 5 alongside.
I feel like it's Mandarin and then Spanish.
Yeah.
I think.
So that's an innovative idea because otherwise if it's just up in English, then you're not reaching the broadest audience possible. So he's the best at what any of us do. And yet, because I get quite jealous of other people's success, hence why Chicken Shop Date Girl, you know. And yet, when I listened to the Joe Rogan interview, I did kind of come away feeling a bit like I'm not jealous of his obsession with YouTube. Because, yeah, he's like ridiculously, well, he puts most of the money back into videos. He's ridiculously successful, let's say that. But he can't, unless it's anime or YouTube, he like, you know, we couldn't talk like I am with you really right now. You know, I couldn't reference anything other than YouTube. And
but I didn't he sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that I feel like people kind of need to bear that in mind because from obviously it's not a good thing what he did. He's lied. Essentially, he's lied and he's kind of like robbed Rosanna of being 3rd place, which she rightfully won. But I do think he just sees views first, business first. Logan Paul's in the thumbnail. Logan Paul was on his redemption arc at the time. Remember? What's going to generate the most amount of talking, views, etc. Have these people in the top 3, like bump her down. Obviously, it's not a good thing to do because you have lied and you've manipulated your editing footage or whatever. But if you have like the mindset of Mr. Beast, which I don't, but I can see why he would have done that. Like I wouldn't because I think it is important to have integrity when it comes to, well, as much integrity as YouTubers have. But I can see how someone who is so obsessed with YouTube would do that.
Yeah, I mean, like he's even said as well, like when he was growing up, he didn't have any friends because he couldn't talk about anything besides YouTube and nobody cared. So like it's been an ongoing thing forever. And then he also said he used to live in this house with a bunch of other creators and all they would do all day, every day is study YouTube. Like that's all they would do. And like, so, you know, he does deserve it. Good for him. But it is the only thing in his brain. I think maybe it wouldn't be so bad if he didn't like frame himself and his channel as being like 100% authentic and like all of that.
I think what he does is good. He's undeniably good at what he does. I've never thought much of his like on camera presence. I've always found it a little bit like, today it's like, you don't talk like that in real life, mate, because like no one does it. He's never come across as like And not to say he's a bad person, I'm not saying that, but he's never come across as like authentic to me. It's a bit like a child's TV presenter, which I guess a lot of his audience is quite young. So that's kind of really what it is, you know? So like the idea of, well, I guess content and presenter can be divided from one another.
I think it's meant to be that like the content itself is authentic, not that the way he portrays it and himself. But like in the video that I did about him, like I pointed out other videos where he has faked stuff. Like it's not an isolated incident. So
what's he faked?
I don't know. Like, well, I won't tell you because people should watch my video. There's just
give us one.
Well, I've only gone into depth about one thing. There's one particular video where like it looks like somebody's life is in danger. Like it's this big escape thing. But it's clearly CGI. Like there's no way around it. But I don't know, because like my little brother watches MrBeast, right? My little brother is really young. And that is like, he has a big audience. So he has an audience of like all ages. But I think a big demographic is like young kids that are kind of bought into that. And they do think it's all real, which is, it's kind of the problem. But at the same time, does it matter if they don't know who won hide and seek? Like that, like, it's bad, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And I think with a bit of perspective as well, because just after this happened with Rosanna and everything, he uploaded a video that he built 100 wells in Africa with like clean drinking water. And it's like, well, like, you know, okay, he faked hide and seek, but like he's giving people access to clean drinking water. So can we maybe calm down a bit? Like, he's not the greatest person in the world. He's not the worst person in the world. At least he's doing something good with his money at the end of the day.
I think he far does like more good than bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, hide and seek, but then paying for people's medical issues to be rectified, or building wells in Africa, or, you know, donating a bunch of money to different people. Right. There's a TV show I've been watching, called Married at First Sight UK.
Oh, dear God. Okay.
It's because I caught an episode of it one night. And I was like, oh, I'll watch some more of this. And I've never seen it before. Yeah, obviously I know the concept. People, they meet at the altar, get married, and then they have to do like couples things and stay together and try and make the relationship work. It's an experiment. But from what I've gathered, it's gotten more and more dramatic each season, obviously, to the point that now it's kind of like a parody of itself in a way. Why did I bring that up? What was I going to say? Let me... Something about someone called... That's it. Right. Okay. So I've only ever watched this season and I'm invested, so I'm going to stick it through to the end. I'm never watching this show again because I believe what the producers are doing is fundamentally torturing these people in this experiment, fundamentally, all in the pursuit of views and success and drama and people talking about it. I'm talking about right now. So it has done its job, self-fulfilling prophecy. But I think that is unethical. And there's this bloke in the experiment called Georges, right? And he's with this woman called Peggy. And when you first meet George, he's a knob. I'm just going to say it. You think he's a knob. And I'm going to reach out to him once the series is over and I'm going to try and get him to come on this podcast, because like he's at the altar being like, oh, well, as long as she has like, you know, big mummy milkers. He says that.
Did he say that?
Yes, he says that. Right? But I have never seen someone do such a 180 and have a character redemption arc over the course of a series, right? Because like the woman he got paired with is destroying this poor man, and they have a panel of love experts who they do these commitment ceremonies every week to see if they want to both stay in the experiment, and the love experts are like, you need to do this, you need to do that. On this series there have been a lot of men who have been behaving really badly, and so they've been chucked off the show. There was a guy called Brad who was emotionally abusing and controlling his partner Shona, but again, I could do a whole episode ranting about this.
You should do a video about this.
Well, the show is it's commissioned by Channel 4, and Channel 4 are not doing a duty of care to the contestants nor to the fucking public, I'll say, because Shona and Brad got asked to leave because they had an altercation, and you don't really know what happened. But it sounds like it was pretty bad. Like this guy, he was just dead behind the eyes. He was kind of like quite sociopathic, you know. He like love bombed her and then devalued her and then was like controlling her, and it was just this whole spectacle that we were watching on TV. So they got asked to leave the experiment. And it could have been a moment where Channel 4 could have put up a message being like, Brad showed controlling or emotionally abusive behavior. If you've been affected by this, here's like a hotline to call. They didn't do anything like that. They were just like, leave. We don't want a lawsuit kind of thing, like kind of vibe, you know?
They didn't put up anything.
No.
Isn't that just standard practice at this point?
You'd fucking think. And then these are the same people that are like, oh, hashtag be kind. It's like, you fucking be kind to these participants who come on your show. And I don't like the argument of, well, these people sign up for it. They know what they're getting into. No, they don't. Like, there needs
Nobody
to be
signs up to get abused.
Well, even like with a lesser example, do you know what I mean? Because like, producers and TV companies need to have a duty of care to their participants. So Shona was actually quite emotionally vulnerable as a person, regardless of like Brad being around or not. She'd had issues with like an eating disorder. I think she'd had like really some severe issues in relationships in the past. So already she was a vulnerable person who shouldn't have been vetted and put through the process in the first place, you know? So they failed on that account already by having her on the show, unfortunately. There was another person called Luke who, I don't want to get sued, but I reckon allegedly he was just an angry cokehead, right? Nasty. And it's funny because he started off like quite all right. Like, like a lot of the people who seemed all right on their wedding day turned into arseholes. A lot of people who like seemed like arseholes, like Georgia's, actually turned all right. But this guy, Luke, he tried to attack another groom on the show, like banging on his door and went into his flat and tried to attack him. And then he was talking like, well, big shit on Instagram afterwards, being like, chat shit, get banged. But the fight was him literally just like grabbing him and like grappling. Like, I have better fights at my boxing gym. What you want about? You absolute wet nurse. So he got kicked off the show for being awful. And now with George and Peggy, this woman is like deconstructing and destroying this man episode by episode. Sorry, this has nothing to do with the fucking Rosanna stuff, but I have a lot to say.
Well, you have to finish it now. I want to know where this is going.
I know, right? Okay. So when they go, like, they have the wedding, they go on honeymoon together, yeah? On their honeymoon, George and Peggy. So Peggy works in tech. Right? Oh, she works in tech. Doesn't seem to fucking know what Twitch is, for starters. Works in Twitch. Doesn't understand the concept of live streaming and gaming, right? And George likes to do a little bit of that in his spare time. It's one of his hobbies, yeah? Somehow they get onto the topic of OnlyFans. They don't say that, but you know what they're alluding to. And Peggy goes, would you be all right with it if I did OnlyFans? And he said, I respect it's your body, it's your choice, and I would respect your choice either way. And she goes, I can't believe you would like want me to do OnlyFans. And he was like, I've not said that. And she was like, well, I can't believe you'd be okay with it because we're meant to be in a relationship. And I can't believe you would allow me to like disrespect myself like that. And he was like, what? And I was like, what? And everyone on Reddit was like, what? And she like had a tantrum about this, and he had to like fucking apologize for what? Who knows? And
or like saying, I respect your bodily autonomy. I'm so sorry. How could I?
The topic of like online content creation and stuff comes up, and he explains he does a little bit of, you know, gaming and live streaming, and he has a little audience and stuff. And she's like, she's inquiring more, and he goes, oh, so, you know, they don't say Twitch, they don't say OnlyFans, I don't know why, like maybe they aren't allowed, but he's like, oh, so my community online, they have a currency in the form of baguettes, because he speaks French, and I'm not sure if he is like part French, but he does speak like, I think at least fluent French, right? So his currency is in the form of baguettes, and if people like in the audience get enough baguettes, they can request him to do things. So she's immediately like, what's the weirdest thing that you've been requested, right? And he goes, oh, like once kind of wore no, once like I was in my shorts and they asked me to do some squats on camera, so I did some squats. When I tell you that that single little thing has carried their entire fucking storyline for almost an entire month, right? Because she couldn't get over this. She was like, I don't want you doing that. It's sexual. It's disrespectful. It's this, it's that. The way that they go on about it, you would have thought that he like was doing orgies on Pornhub.
Jesus Christ.
No, it's like, it's fucking outrageous. And what's funny is on the subreddit, people found the videos of him squatting. And it's to the point, it's like, I think if I did that on my YouTube channel, my boyfriend wouldn't say anything. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right? She's all like, oh, it's disrespectful and blah, blah, blah. And then she sees the video of it and she storms off. But the funniest part is she's like, you know, because it's disrespectful, right? It's demeaning. He shouldn't be showing his skin like that. And if he's going to be in a relationship, never mind the fact that happened like months ago, right? She walks off and she's wearing these trousers and the trousers are like cut off at the back. And you can basically almost see her arse cheeks in these trousers. It's brilliant. Fucking irony, right? Her family, they do nothing but give him a hard time, right? They talked in the relationship, they talked about sexual things, you know, because they've not had sex yet. And the experiment is almost over. They're like, some of the couples get on it straight away at the honeymoon, like some it's like over the course. They've not had sex yet, right? But they were talking about, I guess, kinks or whatever. Rimming comes up. I hope I don't get demonetized for saying that.
About cups, clearly.
Yeah,
margaritas.
The rim of this mug, right? She's like, no, disgusting. And he's like, okay. So you won't want me to do that. And she's like, no. Anyway, they have like a in-laws week where the family come round to talk. And her mum and sister come round and she announces to them, I found out my husband likes rimming. Like whilst he's there, embarrasses him. Do you see where I'm going with all of this, right? The mum is like, what's that? And they're like, don't worry.
Oh my God. I would never speak to her again. I'd be gone so fucking fast. Oh my God.
Because he's not embarrassed about like that. Bit of a kink, whatever, but she's deliberately trying to put him down and embarrass him. And in what universe does your mother need to know about your sexual escapades in the bedroom with like your partner or whatever? In what fucking universe? You know?
That's so weird.
So she keeps like, Peggy cares about what everyone else thinks of her and her relationship. She keeps bad mouthing George to all the girls. So the girls have turned around and said, do you know what? We don't think you're suitable. We don't think that you're compatible, because they had to write a list of like their priorities, basically, right? And their priorities didn't match, you know? And there was one week where they had to write 3 things they liked about each other and 3 things they didn't. The things that she didn't like about him were basically his passions, his hobbies, his jobs, him. Like basically just him as a person. So the other girls pointed out they don't think that they're compatible. She twisted that and said to George, no one here likes you. And she keeps telling him that no one here likes you and she doesn't want to be with someone who nobody likes.
Is this not at this point like emotional abuse, what she's doing?
We went past that like a good 2 weeks ago. Right? So, and he keeps being like, I don't care about other people's opinions. She's like, well, I do, and blah, blah, blah. At the like one of the most recent commitment ceremonies, he's a shell of like the person that he was when he entered the experiment. Like he broke down and cried because of the pressure, because he's like, he's not good enough for her and he's trying to change. And she's like, her viewpoint is, I want to know the real you, because I don't feel like I know the real you, because you change depending on who you're around. It's like, what you mean? Like every single fucking human being does. Like the way I talk to you would be different to, I don't know, if MrBeast joined the phone call. So I know you better. That's just called like, I guess, adapting to whatever social dynamic you're in. Like maybe if she fucking understood that, she wouldn't have mentioned rimming in front of her own mother.
Maybe I can't get over that.
if she had a few brain cells, she would understand that social dynamics dictate it's not a persona that you're putting out. It's just like different parts of your personality. It's not fake at all. So she keeps saying like, I don't know who you are as a person, but then when she gets to know who he is as a person, she's always like, but you need to change for this to work. So it's like, so what
Show
is
me
it?
who you are, but not like that.
Exactly. Broken this poor man down. They did like a couple swap for a few days, right? And he was put with this girl called Adrian. And it was the first time in a month, I think, you saw him just being like happy.
Oh,
I don't know. It's really, and it's just to the point that, because a lot of people on Reddit have noticed, like, how come the other people got kicked off? But like what Peggy is doing to this bloke, it's not being questioned. It's not being pushed back upon, except for by the audiences. Like, so my point, this is how it ties in. Right. Okay. we got there. People on the show, because they're now on like Instagram and stuff, some of them have been like, oh, it's just a bad edit. That's why I'm coming across badly. And it's like an edit. It's like people think, well, maybe the public doesn't know. Like, I can't edit you to say words that you haven't said. I can manipulate this conversation and cut things up and put things in a different order. But like the people who are complaining about getting a bad edit, they have said the things that come out of their mouth, you know? And it's like the meta narrative of the show is like from the love experts and from Peggy, George needs to change. George this, George that, like he's awful, he's bad. And it's like,
wait, even the expert people, they've said he needs to change.
They've been like, it's always about what he can do for her and for her needs. It's never about him and his needs. It's never about her compromising in any way, shape, or form. It's he's got to change this, that, the other. But if he was being a total bellend, like outside of what we see, we would have seen it because it would be put in the edit.
Yeah, I mean, they would want to show that. They want to get as much drama as possible. So
100%. So like, and he said on, obviously it's coming from his mouth, but he has said on Twitter, because a few people have been like, why is everyone so mean to you? And he's like, I don't know, but that is how it happened, basically. Like the edit is pretty for his storyline, it's pretty authentic, you know? So that's how that ties into the Rosanna thing. If there was like worse stuff caught on camera, or like worse stuff that had happened, not caught on camera in Rosanna's situation, she would have said it. We would have seen it on Married at First Sight. And this poor George guy, I just feel like I can't believe the character development that's gone from Mr. Mummy Milkers to like, I feel so bad for him. This poor bloke, like no one's questioning it. He's getting like from what I believe that he's getting emotionally abused on TV, and where's the duty of care?
That's it's so fun. I don't understand why haven't they kicked them off the same as everybody else? Like, why is it? What is this like a weird sexist thing where like women can't be abusers or something? I don't get it. I'm confused. Or is it just like they think the storyline is too good?
I honestly don't. I don't know. I don't understand, because the audience reaction is very much on George's side, like all on the subreddit and on the Instagram comments and stuff. It's very much full of people just being like, you poor bloke, leave that woman. Like she's effectively trying to destroy, or they are trying to destroy this poor bloke's personality, and he's not done anything like wrong in the first place. He said a stupid thing on his wedding, like, okay, so he did squats once. So what?
How
I did squats the other day in the gym.
Oh my god, why would you admit to that online? I can't associate with this podcast anymore. I'm sorry. Just the end of it now. Just to ask though, did she have big mommy milkers? I can't fucking say that. It's a hideous sentence. I hate it so much.
She's got a very, very, very nice figure and clearly takes care of herself. What's funny though, again, like this, right, for reality TV, like the subreddits are the place to be for this stuff, because people just be digging, right? So she's so concerned with how she appears, like, and she wants to be prim and proper and appear in a certain way, right? Like classy and elegant. She was on a TV show called Take Me Out, and she looks completely different. And Take Me Out is about people going on dates. And she wasn't exactly acting in the way she tries to put forward now, shall we say. So it's just funny. It's just funny. But yeah, I don't know if it is like a, because I'm always a bit hesitant to go down that route of, because people know that women can be sexist too, right? Like we know that. We saw BuzzFeed with the man spreading video. We all saw that. We know that women can be misandrist, of course. I don't want to say it's a misandrist thing yet, but honestly, I'm not sure. It's confusing. But mainstream TV is kind of like 10 years behind us online anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think it's 10 years behind civilization in general. Like just the average person. I don't know. Everything's kind of weird because I've started watching TV again every now and again, and every time you see something, it's like, what the fuck is going on? What? How are they saying this? How are they allowed to say this? Like I watched the Kardashians, by the way. I don't know if you know this about me. I really love the Kardashians. I can't even think of an example, but just some of the stuff, it's like, this is very weird. And there are people that are quite online as well. So I don't know.
It's kind of like how not that I suggest anyone does this, but if you watch the first few episodes of Towie, like in the first ever season, The Only Way is Essex, because I only watched like the first 2 episodes just to see what it was about. And this woman, I think she was the main character, Lauren Goodger, she's getting like a spray tan done in I think the first episode, and so she's in like her underwear getting a spray tan done. And then maybe it's the second episode actually, because that happens in the first, and then Mark Wright, who's also like one of the main male characters, he's watching that back in the second episode, and he goes, oh, what's she done that for? Why is she half naked? She looks about 16 stone. And this was only about like between 10 and 14 years ago, and people were openly allowed to talk like that on TV. Like it was really like, I was watching it and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, I think we've talked about this on this podcast before, but like about the Fat Family show that used to be on. I remember watching that when I was younger, and it's like genuinely he comes in and he's like these porky fuckers, these fat assholes. Like it's so bad.
Get
you
up,
can't talk about people like
bastards. Yeah, it's crazy. But then even like modern, okay, this has just turned into a more generalized episode, but I'm quitting Made in Chelsea again.
I saw your Instagram thing about it.
Because I'm just fucked off. I'm just sick of it. Like, again, there's no duty of care to these people. There's this girl called Inga, and there's this other girl called Ruby who has always hated Inga from day one. I think because Ruby and her older boyfriend Rez, so as in Ruby and Rez got together when she was like 16, 15, and he was 24. So her older boyfriend, I mean, she's like 26 or something now, and like they've since broken up, but they were with each other for a long time. Yeah, I know, right?
Are we just glossing over that? Like, what the fuck?
Well, Made in Chelsea have, because like, I think maybe she was like 25 or 26, and they were talking about how long they'd been together. And they said, like, when you do because I remember doing a makeup video like 2 years ago, and I was being like, when you do the math, it equals illegal, right? But since they said that, they've tried to cover it up and like mix up the dates a little bit, because like a lot of people cottoned on to that. But when Ruby and Rez were together, she was emotionally cheating on Rez. Part of my brain is like, but do I blame her that much though? Because, for the obvious dynamic, do I blame her? But regardless, she was mostly cheating on Rez with a guy called Miles, and this was during lockdown, and they introduced this character, well, this woman, not character, called Inga, and Miles liked Inga, and then they had sex, and Miles did what he does to every single woman. He like pumps and dumps it's an epidemic with him, just pumps and dumps. But Ruby has always hated Inga from like the moment she came in, because she was jealous that Miles was flirting with her and they were having an emotional affair, basically, right? Miles was being like, break up with your boyfriend, and then he like goes and shags Inga. So Ruby has always hated Inga, and a lot of the other cast members seem to not like her either. And again, if she was just this total like asshole, we would have seen it by now. She's been like, she has been nasty, but it's been in pure retaliation to these girls bullying her from day one, right? And people who watch the show like to try and point out, oh, but you know, when she was with Sam Prince, they were being mean to Julian. No, his name's Julius. Who wouldn't, like, you don't know because you don't watch the show, but who wouldn't be mean to Julius? Julius is like a I'm so going to get sued by these people one day. He's like a fake life coach. I mean, he does life coaching, but like life coaching, you can literally just like print a little certificate off the internet.
I don't think life coaching is a real thing. I think everybody's full of shit. Like,
okay, that's good. Well, regardless, this guy is like, he's in Made in Chelsea, so he has lived a privileged existence. Like, how is he going to coach me on my existential dread? He ain't going to be able to do that. He ain't qualified. Get lost. And also, like, people just forget that he is also, if you're a bloke on this show, you're not a nice person. There's only ever been like 2 or 3 blokes who have been nice on the show, and guess what? They left. You know, like in its entire history.
Again, I mean this with like the utmost respect and love, but can anybody who grew up rich be a nice person? I'm genuinely like that level of rich and privileged. Is it possible? I don't know many rich people, you know. I don't think I know any. I don't know any rich people.
Do I?
Oh my god.
All the like, you know, rich people I've ever met have been arseholes who like to do drugs and give drugs to 20-year-olds. So not great. Yeah, so like these girls, they've always hated Inga. You edited that video for me of Emily and what's her face being just like slut shaming Inga, being like, well, I heard she was da 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 da. Like, shut up, shut your mum, like literally shut your mum. Like, just like weird, right? A mother and daughter sitting there like slut shaming, and I don't even like that term. I don't like the term slut shaming because it implies slut. Do you know what I mean? Don't like it. Sex shaming, whatever you want to call it.
They're just being assholes. That's
yeah. So anyway, right? That video that I did where I was like, oh yeah, I reckon that Yaz and Sam Prince, who was dating Inga for 2 years, had an affair. And I've got nothing to base that on. I am so fucking vindicated and validated, right? Because they have let it slip at least twice in recent episodes. Yaz was talking to Sam on a bench, and she says, like, I know you're serious about this and serious about me because you wouldn't have thrown away your 2-year. And then she stops herself, and he kind of goes, he looks away, maybe at production, he kind of goes, and she goes, I mean, you wouldn't have done all of this for me. And I think that is so funny that the fucking editors kept that in, because you know that they probably redid that line 10 times. Like, you know that. And the editors kept that one in where she basically admits he threw away a 2-year relationship for her. And then like in a recent episode, like the most recent episode, he goes to her, I exploded or imploded my life to be with you. And she was like, yeah, and you dragged me down there, right? Which again implies, like, I reckon they had a physical affair. There was 100% emotional cheating gone on. They've like slipped up and admitted it, right? So Sam and Yaz have like were together for all of 5 minutes, and then Sam kept ringing Inga to try and get her attention because he's actually like allegedly a sociopath, right?
Okay.
Inga's like just being a bit smug about it. Who wouldn't? Like, your boyfriend has, let's be real, cheated on you with someone else, but now they're running back to you. You would be a bit like, haha. The cast have changed it to this narrative of somehow Inga is a homewrecker. They've not said this, but that's how like they're all behaving. Yaz dumps Sam. Drama. This is so funny. Like, I live for this stuff. Yaz dumps Sam. Sam and Inga go out for a drink. Whether they might have shagged, they might have not. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Inga has no loyalty to Yaz. I hope that she fucked him out of spite. I hope that she did it just to piss Yasmin off. But like the cast, yeah, they're basically acting as though like Inga's a home wrecker, like she's a cheat. Somehow Yasmin deserves better, even though this has been a pattern of behavior of Yasmin's to go after cast members' recent exes or go after guys that her friends are interested in. It's all there on Main Chelsea for you to watch, right? But audiences seem to have like a 5-second goldfish memory when it comes to this stuff. Not me.
Fishbowl is more accurate.
Fishbowl. my fucking photogenic memory, but only for pointless drama and gossip. Could have been a scientist, but instead I'm doing this in my life. And it is to the point that like I'm watching this and it's like, nah. And so E4 put out a statement, and they've never done that before on Instagram, being like, remember to hashtag be kind because the cast members of Main Chelsea have family and friends who are reading your comments. They are only saying that because Ruby and Yaz are getting backlash. Ruby is being horrible. She is a bully. She's just a vindictive little bully. She's quite poisonous and toxic. Always has been. She's a nasty girl, right? And if she's not, if she's actually a really nice person, then babe, you need to have a word with those editors because they don't like you. I don't know, did you spit in their coffee or something? Because they are giving you like a bad edit if so. But again, you can't edit words into someone's mouth. You just can't do that.
Well, nowadays you can, but they haven't started doing that yet.
Oh yeah, I guess. Let me retract that. So I think clearly, like Yaz and Ruby have complained to E4 Chelsea on Instagram. E4 Chelsea are being like hashtag be kind, and it's so fucking superficial and facetious. Like Main Chelsea have endorsed. I said this in my Instagram thing where I was just tagging them. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I was in a fighting mood. They've endorsed misogyny on their program for the past 10 years. The earlier seasons, heavily misogynic, so full of slut shaming. So full of just kind of the emotional abuse of women. There was this girl called Binky, right? Her boyfriend cheated on her with an orgy. Well, her name's Alexandra, but she's called Binky for some reason. But her boyfriend cheated on her and had an orgy.
What?
Yeah. Like these poor women have just been put through the ringer for like a decade. And yes, you can argue that it's constructed reality, and you can argue that these people go on these shows in the first place, but it's not a good argument to have because they've never tried to disavow the clear and blatant sexism that goes on in that they've never done anything like that. So they are endorsing it. They do think that on some level it's okay to just treat women like shit and collateral damage for views. Sick of it. Not watching it anymore. Solidarity for this poor Inga person. I feel bad for her. Like, what has she done? Nothing.
She just existed and they hated it. I don't know. I'm not talking about the people who get cheated on, right? But like the people who do the cheating, the people who are being bitchy and catty, and do they not just want peace in their lives? Like, are they not tired? I don't know. It just sounds really exhausting to be doing all of this. And like, I don't know. Oh, I get in this relationship with somebody who cheated. Now I'm going to cheat on them. And now I'm going to bully the person and then we're going to do a whole thing in an emotional affair. Like, shh, calm down. Go to sleep, smoke some weed, take a nap. I know I just said 2 versions of sleep, but it's important. Drink some water. I don't know. Like, calm down. I don't get it.
I wonder about that too. But like with Made in Chelsea, there is the caveat, right, that these people come from money, intergenerational wealth. Because like I think I said in the video I did on my main channel that I don't really understand Yasmin's game with all of this, because right now like a lot of the audience don't really like her. She's making herself look a bit daft. She's 24. It's going to have a knock-on effect. I wouldn't say exactly she maybe has the right personality, because some of them do go on and do like presenting gigs, but you have to have a bit of a specific personality to do that. Like there's a bloke called Jamie Lang. He's done loads of presenting stuff, but again, like he's got that, I guess, je ne sais quoi about him, right? Whereas like out of the current cast, there's a girl called Olivia Bentley. I reckon she'd do quite well on like other TV shows. But so it's kind of like, well, what's the end game here? Because you are making yourself look a bit foolish on TV. This will pass, like your stint on Made in Chelsea, unless you want to stay on here for the next decade. It is going to be temporary. Maybe you've got another 2 seasons in you. What are you going to do afterwards? But of course, they don't have to worry because they do have their family's money to. But like, there's a guy on the show called Robbie, and he's been training to be a lawyer, like whilst he's been on the show. And I don't know about you, but like if. So like a lot of his storylines include him having threesomes with his boyfriend and then it inevitably causing so much drama and shit in his relationship because like he wants to have his cake and eat it, because he newly came out and then he got a boyfriend straight away, so he didn't really give himself the opportunity to go out and date around and just shag about a bit, you know. That's my complaint about 50 Shades of Grey. Anna's a virgin when she meets Christian. She thinks that she's in love with him. No, she's just like, he's just rich and you've not shagged anyone else. Like, it's important to at least date and experience different things, right? I think that it's important to do that. But anyway, so he's been in a relationship with Robbie, and Joel have been in a relationship for a few years. They keep having threesomes and then it just blows up in their face and it causes loads of toxic drama. And I don't know, but like he's training to have like a really serious job role. Not like, I don't know. Like one time at a bar, I used to work at this bar in Liverpool Street, like financial, it's near the City of London, so not finance bros, like actual serious financial people and stuff. They'd come in, we'd chat and stuff, and I would say like I asked about media and finances, can they ever, media and banking can, and a lot of them, they were old school. They were like, it's a conflict of interest. If you wanted a job in banking, you couldn't do radio. It's a little bit different now with social media, obviously, but still that old school attitude like maintains conflict of interest, right? So you've got this guy who's training to be, imagine like you're being defended in court by this lawyer, but you can go on E4 catch up and see him have a threesome and then argue with his boyfriend and cry about it. Is that not a conflict of interest? Is it not? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it would be a bit weird to have that as your lawyer. And then like Kim Kardashian is training to be a lawyer as well, and she passed the baby bar and all that. So like imagine having any of these people as imagine you've killed someone and somebody from Made in Chelsea is representing you.
And I'd argue it's not even about the sexual escapades, because ultimately, who cares? Who cares if you have a threesome? None of my business. But it's the toxic like aftermath of it, because they've both been quite like toxic and nasty to each other. Just seeing that, how is that not a conflict of interest? Do you know what I mean? Like he's been quite nasty to some of the girls on the show sometimes. So again, like how is it not? I don't know. I guess it's a different world when you have money.
Yeah, I mean, even I worry about like, because I do YouTube, but I study psychology and would like to one day potentially work in psychology. And I'm like, am I going to be able to like work with patients if I'm a YouTuber? Like, how is that going to work? So I don't know. So I'm looking at going into academia instead, but then at the same time, that might be worse because I could be teaching a bunch of 19-year-olds and 2 of them might know who I am, you know?
It's a very real fear, and it is something that should be considered properly, because as it stands now, like if I want to, do you know what? There's still, I don't know. I would have to maybe get like 10 times the amount of subs I have for, I think, there to be a real world consequence if I went back into the job market. But obviously it depends on the job as well. Like I think maybe a lot of officers probably won't really mind, but if it starts to become a conflict of, again, that word conflict of interest, Tanya Burr, who was a vlogger of the Brit like vlog squad, she was friends with Zoella and Alfie Days and stuff. She used to work at a beauty counter and she started doing YouTube videos on the side of that, little makeup related videos, and the beauty counter people found out about it and told her it's a conflict of interest and she can't do YouTube and that at the same time, you know.
I think maybe it's different now for like those kind of jobs, office job, but like things with like working directly with like vulnerable clients and stuff, you know, like with that kind of power dynamic, like if you are somebody's lawyer or you're somebody's doctor, like then it's a bit questionable. So I don't know.
Well, Karan Raj, who has come on my podcast before, he's basically like the TikTok doctor. He's got like millions of subscribers and he still works for the NHS, and I think it goes hand in hand and it's all still fine. But it probably just depends on what you're putting out there, because obviously like all the stuff that he puts out is medical related and it's informative, you know?
He's not sharing his relationship drama.
He's not being like, so I wanted to bring in a third person for this threesome and my partner didn't like it. So we did it anyway, and now everyone's crying.
Dear God.
That is the exact storyline. But it's kind of funny though, because it's like they had a threesome once with this guy called Geronimo, right? In I think it was in Corsica in the south of France.
His name is Geronimo.
Yep.
That's just a red flag in and of itself.
Well, like, so they have this threesome once, and bless him, Robbie's still crying about it now. And it's kind of like, his dick must have been magical, babe. If you did it once, and like he's being like, I did fall for him. I did, like, if you fell in love, like from it was like, that must have been a magical penis.
I just can't get over the name Geronimo. I'm just imagining that's what he says when he. I'm sorry, taking it too far. I'm gonna be quiet now.
This was only meant to be like a 30-minute long podcast.
We were supposed to talk about Rosanna Pansino and MrBeast, and that was it. And now we're.
Well, we did that, didn't we? It was all right.
We did. We achieved our goal and extra. People should be thanking us.
They should. They should donate straight to my PayPal. Help me pay for some of these hotels so I can still give you this incredible content all about reality British TV. You know?
Exactly. Help you pay your TV license. All that.
What's that?
Do you not have those then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never paid for a TV license in my life. What are they going to do? Send their little van around and give me a letter through the post box? Like, I give a shit. What are they going to do?
They like take you to court. Maybe you shouldn't say this.
I am literally the hardest person. I'd like to see them try. Put me in a courtroom, see what happens. Just cut to me weeping.
I would like it to be known that I have paid my TV license. Please don't come to my door with your little van. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just a fair dodger, aren't I? Well, I think morally and ethically, why should we pay for a TV license and fund the BBC when they protected Jimmy Savile for years? Just saying.
You've got a fair point. My TV license doesn't go to the BBC. So there you go. I have family that work in RTE. So I feel like I'd rather just give him the money, but here we are.
Yeah, your TV licenses hopefully don't protect nonces. So, but
yeah,
I'm the bad person.
We just had like a financial, like, people getting extra dodgy money under the table scandal. That's about as far as it's gotten. We haven't had any Jimmy Savile-esque stories.
Oh, God.
I think we've done a good job today. I think we got a lot in here.
Oh,
I've been a little bit aggressive, but it's okay.
I've still got so much to talk about, though. Like, did I really? My life. My life's actually all right. I saw went to some shows on the weekend. I'll talk about that next time. I'll talk about the shows that I saw because they was well good, innit?
Yes. Well, I need to go anyway because I have to go to a webinar about neuroscience and AI. So we can talk about that in the next one as well.
Okay, awesome. Because I need to go film my 50 Shades video fucking finally. I started the script in October 2022.
You've been talking about it for much longer. Wait, 2022?
Yeah, that's when that's when I first, yep. That's where I started it. And then I just kept forgetting to do it or / repressing it.
You need to say that at the beginning of the video. Apparently, like, it actually makes people watch longer if you talk about the ways that the video has either financially or emotionally burdened you, which is why Swoop does it so often. So, sorry, I've come to fight as well today, apparently.
I'm 100%. I'm going to do that. I want people to know that this has like really hurt my soul. And this is the second book out of 3. And I'm going to do the third. And then, because she's a mad lad, E.L. James rewrote 50 Shades from Christian's perspective for all 3 books. And I'm going to do them as well. I don't care if it kills me. I know I'm so brave like that. But
you are so stunning and brave.
And
your eyebrows look great.
I'm too good for this platform. Why am I not on Made in Chelsea or Married at First Sight?
You're not enough of a cunt to be on Made in Chelsea.
It's a shame because I really think that I am, but guess not.
No, you're just more like, you're not bright and cheerful, but you're not like a horrible, nasty person. That's the difference.
I'm like, yeah, Callum says that secretly. He once said that you're secretly the nicest person that I know, but it's like no one's allowed to know it. And it's like, yeah, that's true. Don't fucking say that. It'll ruin my street cred. you know.
Okay, you're awful. You're terrible. I actually despise you. I don't know why we do this. There you go. Does that help?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, let's wrap this episode up. That was today's episode. Good Lord. What a long one. What a long one. But I hope you learned a thing or two about Made in Chelsea.
And big mommy milkers.
And big mummy milkers. That's the main takeaway. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Do make sure to check us out on Spotify and iTunes. I make new podcasts whenever I can. I might do Podmas, so that's something to look forward to. But if I don't, just never bring it up. No promises here.
Bring it up. Bring it up.
And give me 5 stars on Spotify because it really helps. And I don't like it when I go on Spotify and see that someone's got a new podcast, but then they've got more ratings than me. No, give me 5 stars. All of you. If all of you gave me 5 stars, then I'd have 2 stars, but it'd be 2 more than before.
Beautiful.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.